Doop betters, doop betters. Today on Doop by the River, the boys are back. We're going to catch up with the ladies of the Philadelphia Union as they have arrived to training camp in Chester. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. Let's get it started, guys. And done!
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia. And, of course, we're brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, I want to formally welcome everyone back on in. We're in 2023. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick, we are live right now on El Parse Philly's YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe. Of course, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under Doop by the River podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you today our panel of duping experts. First up, let's welcome back on in Mr. Zach Lobasso, fresh from Europe, the Europes. What's up, Zach? How you feeling, man?
Doing well. Good to be home. Now I'm looking for jobs. So if you guys, anyone knows anyone who's hiring, let me know. First job. So, well, not first. You know what I mean. Yeah, going to the coaching convention this week in Philly. So I'll actually be in Philly for like 5 straight days, which will be good. And yeah, I'm excited to get back to MLS and Union and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's so exciting. So what was the highlight of the Euro trip? Any footy? Any good footy stories?
Yeah, so we went to see Crystal Palace play against Fulham. Unfortunately, we didn't see Crystal Palace play because they were horrible. But watching Mitrovic and Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream score his first Premier League goal ever was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Being in Glasgow for the Celtic Rangers derby match was pretty crazy.
That's really dope.
Yeah. Almost seeing Mbappe and Neymar play for PSG. Didn't get tickets to that one. We thought that it would be too close to the end of the World Cup that like Mbappe and Neymar and Messi wouldn't play. So we were like, we're not going to go. And then Mbappe and Neymar played, and Mbappe scored a winner in like the 96th minute. It would have been a great game to go see, but it is what it is. The trip was great. I'm looking forward to going back in the summer.
That is really dope. So let me ask you, so what is the ticket process? Because I've heard different stories throughout Europe. So what is like the ticket process in Europe, or I guess wherever you did watch, to purchase some tickets?
So in Europe, it's France is different. Like you can just buy tickets from the club. You don't have to be a member or anything. But like in England, you either have to be a member of the club, which costs like $60 for the year. Then you have the right to buy tickets from the club. And then the way we did it, though, was we went through like a third party called Groundhopper, which like is a like licensed seller or reseller of tickets from the clubs. And we just went through them, and it was really easy. They just sent you the tickets and you go to the game. It was pretty easy process. If you're looking to go to games, Groundhopper is the way to go. Not sponsored.
Okay. Well, if you want to sponsor, we'll definitely take it. But that's definitely some good tidbits from our boys. Absolutely. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back on in Justin, Target Allocation podcaster Friedberg. Justin, I miss you, man. How you feeling, brother? What you been up to?
Just been busy with with Sons of Ben board stuff. We got Help Kick Hunger this weekend. So if anyone is interested, it is a Sunday, the 15th, 6 to 9 p.m. over at Fat Lady Brewing. Tickets are available on the Sons of Ben Twitter and Facebook pages. all goes to a good cause. So we've been getting ready for that. I've been, doing some last minute donation securing, and just been enjoying having soccer back on the TV. Definitely loving that MLS is getting into full swing. Silly seasons upon us because
My favorite. It's my
everyone
favorite time of year.
is being linked with like 3 different clubs, and MLS free agency is bonkers. It's been great, and I love the new free agency rules because it creates so much chaos.
And that's what we're here for. That is definitely what we're here for. But guys, I want to get in real quick because we haven't been on the pod, but we were going gas extension through guys. Daniel has that extension. Zach first of all for injury, he kind of be locked up. For
we appear to be having some technical difficulties on Johnny's end. All right. But
I think he was asking about what we thought about
the Gazdag deal. Yeah, so Daniel Gazdag is now a DP. He signed through 2025 and gets the number 10, which Zach, I know he seems surprising that was available. What do you think what do you think this DP deal signals for at least for the Union's intent for this season?
I mean, they want to keep him obviously till 2025. That's why they signed him till then. I think that they ultimately think that this will keep him here. The only thing I see is like if he has a start to the year, like coming off the back of last year, like in the same way that he was playing. In the summer, offers are gonna come in, like they're gonna, and if some team bids high enough, like I don't think the Union are in a financial position to say like we're not gonna sell him. If like a team's offering like 10 million for a guy, which is like in the realm of possibility for someone who's putting up numbers like he was putting up last year. If he does it in the beginning of this year, like the first half, like I can see those offers coming in, and I would be surprised if they turn down offers like that. Now getting rid of Paxton's interesting. Like maybe that sways their decision a little bit one way or the other. But I mean, we also have to wait and see what the rest of the offseason holds and if they're bringing in anybody else to like solidify that position a little bit more. But I mean, it seems he's here to stay for the long term as long as he doesn't play too well,
Well, I think I'm back, guys. But thank you for that, Zach. Justin, any thoughts on Gazak's extension here?
I think Zach's on the point. I think it solidifies arguably your offensive MVP from last year, a guy who, with that, with the other two in the front three of Ua and Carranza, really established a great working relationship, and I think the team absolutely wants to continue that. From what I had heard, I know there were some like discussions about offers. There was nothing that really crossed the Union's minds in terms of selling, and especially with Paxton being sold to Eintracht Frankfurt. I think that kind of went, whoa, wait a minute, we kind of need to, we need to lock him down, hold on to him, and then see where they go. Jim did talk about in one of his, early press conferences for, training so far, is that they are absolutely still, looking to fill positions. The two biggest being a center back, which we had discussed early in the offseason that was a position of need, at least for a veteran for depth. and with the subtraction of Corey Burke, you needed another depth striker piece. So you could have someone who is a attacking mid 9 hybrid, or if you're playing Quinn as the backup for Gazdag and looking for another forward, or if you're looking for a backup 10 and then sliding Quinn as the third striker, like they're going to be signing an offensive player, and I think sending Goss to this DP deal at least gives them the foothold of, well, we still have our starting attacking 3, and we can still build on it from there.
I just think it's just smart business, locking him up. And obviously he likes playing here, and he obviously had a great season. And let's not forget kind of how the MLS Cup ended for him as well. I mean, I'm sure that's been on his mind throughout the whole entire offseason, just missing that penalty kick. So really excited for him in this upcoming year. It's going to be weird seeing him in number 10 jersey as well, but we'll slowly get used to that as he's scoring banger after banger for sure. But, Justin, you bring up a good point. It does kind of sound like they do want to find a replacement for Corey Burke, in a sense that they want to find another striker with that same kind of size, but I'm assuming a little bit more technical on the ball. Zach, is that what you think this team really does need?
Yeah, I don't think Chris Donovan's quite there yet. And I'm assuming Riasco's also not there, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation. Like, they already would have said, like, oh, he's going to be on the first team and getting meaningful minutes. We lost Darbo, so yeah, I think that's definitely something they need to fill, because it was such a vital role last year. Like, Corey did way better than I ever thought he would do, and he filled that role super well. Scored some big time goals, and really helped the team. So they need to find a guy who can do the same thing this year, because as much as Carranza and Gazdaganua are going to score, like in games where they're struggling, like once the deep back line's tired, you're going to need to find someone who you can bring on and cause some trouble, for some other teams.
That's like the key point, because that's really what helped the Union keep leads and build on leads in the second half of a lot of matches. Because when you got 30 minutes, you're in the 60th minute, and Corey Burke's coming out there for 30 minutes with his fresh legs and that great pace, it really can be a pain in the ass there for sure. Justin, I wanted to ask you, do you think it's a little surprising that Union fans aren't a little bit restless on a signing? Because typically this time of year, brother, they're like, sign someone.
I think, considering how last season ended and the fact that your first game isn't until February 25th, I think. I mean, I know you have some some scrimmages in a few weeks when they go down to Florida, as they usually do around the end of January. I think people have faith in Ernst. I think Ernst has absolutely built a solid credit of faith and trust to sign. As Jim kind of said it, like, they are looking. They're not done. Nothing's done. This, as he always says at this point, the roster is not, solidified really until, a few weeks before the first game. And so you've got time, and knowing Ernst, and I think you also are waiting for the European market to kind of shake out, because right now, as we're seeing in Europe, it's kind of the Wild West right now. Post World Cup, players' values are insanely high. People, you like it. The problem is it's not a great time to buy, and I think a lot of MLS teams are either going to South America or they're waiting for Europe to kind of shake out. And I think you're going to have to wait at least another week or so for it to really shake out, like in terms of like the big hitters. And then, that's where the MLS clubs can kind of, look through, because there are a lot of deals for summer signings that are being discussed. But I think right now is unfortunately, like, I know Ernst, he's going to find someone, but it is the worst timing with signings because of the Winter World Cup.
Yeah, man. It really does come down to that. I mean, Marco Fabian and Michael Ure were both, I think, they were in spring training, or they were down in Clearwater when those signings happened, if I'm not mistaken. So it is definitely bound to happen that signing, that big attacking signing to come off the bench could be coming while they're down in Clearwater. So we'll see what happens. But gentlemen, we got some not semi-concrete news. Alex Wober obviously signs with Leeds United, official. Kind of takes Kai Wagner out of the market for Leeds United. Go figure. But it also does kind of seem, from what Jim has said, that Kai is probably going to stay as well. I definitely feel for Kai, but then again, let's run it back, right? Let's run this thing back, right, Zach? Like that's really big news for us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I still think he goes. I'm not gonna lie. I still think the way Europe's gonna be shaken out in the last couple weeks of January, I still think he ends up going, because injuries always happen, and
I was gonna say,
and players start getting into slumps or whatever. So I still think he gets his move. Which will be very interesting for the rest of the squad. I wanted to bring up too, like, Callens is still available for our, center back needs. Maybe we go to a three back.
He's going to Atlanta. He's everything.
Probably, but
he's probably getting paid, no?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna get paid.
He's gonna get paid.
But like those interleague transfers, I think are really where. And we've already seen the Union make one, which when you were talking about earlier, why Union fans aren't like clamoring for a signing. I think having already made, even though it's kind of gone under the radar, I think it'll actually be very, very important. Now that Ali's 37.
But I feel like most people look at that move as like a deal for the future, because I don't think.
No, I think he's playing this year.
That's
giving a lot.
I think that's giving.
No, but that's giving Ali a lot of break. And
yeah, sure.
I think there is a clear difference if in the MLS Cup, if you have Ali Bedoya on the field. I think there's a clear difference in how that game starts out.
And not just have Ali, but 17 years younger.
Yeah.
And he's got he's got a lot of talent, and he's still growing and developing, which is kind of the scary part, because you look at the Carranza move and you saw what 1 year already did for him, and you look at Pereira. I mean, sky's the limit for that guy as well.
I mean, it's the edge of new atmosphere, new area,
especially in our area.
That locker room, that growth, that Carranza even said it, like, he could tell before that deal was made permanent, like he felt different when he started in preseason training here.
Oh yeah.
It's something like it's an atmosphere, and it's the reason why you've let certain players go, is because the culture, the vibes and the general atmosphere that the coaches and the players want, that they are learning from each other. They are pushing each other to make each other better. They genuinely want to be there for each other. There's a clear difference in how last year's team operated, and I think slotting a young, hungry player right into there, it just, I mean, you're adding fuel to an already raging inferno that is the potential for this Union club.
Yeah. And I also think too, like, if Kai does go, I think Pereira ends up starting, because I think Leon goes to left back.
It's a possibility for sure, man. That is definitely.
Or the back three. I mean, that's
or back three. I still think
give me that 3-5-2. Give me that 3-5-2.
I think it's gonna happen. They
Give me
sign
the
a center back.
3-5-2.
I
Come on.
think you start Brendan. Well, depending on which center back you sign, I think Craig could definitely start because he's a very good ball playing center back, which is vital in a 3-5-2. It'll be interesting. I really hope we see it.
I can't wait to go deeper into all these positions because I think we're gonna have a lot of fun breaking down every position heading into the season. Justin, I want to get your thoughts. Do you think Kai has a chance of leaving before the season starts?
I think in the summer. I think.
Okay.
I think. Just right now, I just think I still see I have a hard time. Like initially, I kept saying it. If he's gonna leave, it's gonna be an actual rumor and not the stupid rumors his agent keeps making up. And I kept saying that none of these rumors felt like anything other than the agent throwing darts against onto a poster board and saying Kai is gonna sign like a spin wheel and Kai's gonna sign with Nice or Eintracht. Like I think there was just kind of let's see what teams I can add to this but I think if Kai has a sustained start to the season, I just think Jim said like they're not going to stop him, but at this point there's nothing concrete, so they're acting as if Kai is here. And you have Matt Real, who was filling in pretty admirably.
Right.
Can play. I think if Kai does go midseason, you have Matt Real, you have Leon. I think Pereira definitely does get more time. And I think it's going to be like realistically, I don't know if I see Kai here by the end of the year, but at least to start the season, at this point, it feels like he's going to stay on this roster.
Justin, seems like Kai Wagner's agent's part of Clutch Sports. The way he finds all these.
Seriously, every time I see one of these rumors, I first look at who's what publication is producing it, and then I look more closely to the rumor, and I like it always stinks of an agent rumor. When it's always kind of vague and you never you can tell the real ones from the agent ones, and basically almost none of them came from Fabrizio. Like there were
Fabrizio's the only guy, and Tommy Bogues, but
like even Tommy Bogues is like there was like nothing he was like
the Leeds was the only one that made sense
but it was because of the Brendan and the
of course
Jesse Marsh like it was like okay, but
they needed a left back. Like
I
really
think
bad.
they were interested, though. I really do think that they were really interested.
But like, there were no formal offers. We could talk about interest. I kept saying this until there's actual talks, and Fabrizio starts saying, "Here we go," or the red lights, tweets come out. I'm not going to believe anything until it really gets over the line. And at this point, it never felt like anything was getting over the line.
Do you guys think it's the price and the league he's from?
I don't think it's the league he's from. It might be the asking price.
But what, less than 10 million? Like for the MLS left back is pretty cheap considering
this league is producing fullbacks though.
The Union definitely sell him for like $7 million. Like if they got a $7 million offer, like they're selling him.
Did he lead in assists last year too?
No, but he was up there.
I think second
the Union.
Lucho.
Oh, for the Union,
yeah.
Union,
yeah.
He had the most assists. But yeah, like it, and like $7 million for a fullback is like cheap.
That's what
like
I'm saying.
Cheap. So I'm also confused as to why offers are not coming in.
That is really weird.
Like especially how Justin was talking about, like in the post World Cup market, everyone's so expensive. Kai Wagner's not expensive. He's cheap.
And you just no one wants to take a flyer on it. It's really wild to me.
It is very strange. I agree. I agree.
Real quick, guys. C-Swit has a good question. You guys are gonna have fun with this one. Do you guys think Jim Greg fired?
No,
I think he is, but I don't think he should be.
Yeah, I don't think Jim. If I'm Jim, I don't think I want to be anywhere near the national team right now. I was listening to our buddies of Hooligans today, and they brought this very topic up, and they were saying that Jim is in the exact position that Jesse Marsh was before he left for Europe. And if I'm Jim, I want to go that route.
Yeah.
I want to hop into Europe. I want to start maybe at a mid-league, like I think Jim could go to a
Bundesliga is like
like
where I see him.
Bundesliga, or maybe even go to like the Eredivisie.
Yeah.
Start even Bundesliga, start mid-table, work your way up, and then make that big move. If I'm Jim Curtin, why would you want to go to the national team with the disarray that is going on right now? Eventually, yes, that might be an option, but right now, I just don't see the appeal for Jim for that purpose.
I think right now Jesse Marsh is more likely to be the men's national team coach than Jim is, because I think Jesse might not make it till the end of the season.
Really?
If they stay up, I think that's a different story. But there are many more other teams right now. I can think of Southampton, Everton. Well, there's a lot of teams that are in.
Yeah. Also, though, I don't think like I think USSF has to look themselves in the mirror, because like if you hire Jim, he's like part of that inner circle that like every other guy has been a part of in US soccer. And same with Jesse. Like, I think they need to bring in someone who has no connection to anyone and is just there to coach.
Well,
like,
they tried Zidane, Zach.
Oh, dude, hey, listen, if they actually offered him, props. Unless they only did it to be like, well, at least we asked, and then they just hire Greg again, I'll throw up. I will throw up.
Zidane's waiting for the French national team.
Well, yeah, but they
turned down every job under the sun right now.
But they just extended Deschamps to 26.
Yeah, he needs to take another job.
Dude, he's not gonna coach until after the next World Cup. Like, I don't believe that.
He's got to coach, man. He definitely has to coach somewhere.
He's got to.
But I will say this, guys. I do find it interesting that a lot of American soccer fans are getting on board with Jim as a potential manager. I agree with you guys. I don't think Jim should take it, but I do find that very interesting that a lot of people in U.S. soccer fandom really do want Jim.
I think the thing is though, the reason I don't want Jim is because I think that it's settling for the men's national team. And I think that the way Jim coaches isn't set. Like, I think it's the same thing as the way Greg coaches. Like, Jim loves his system, which is fine in club soccer because you can buy players who fit that system. But when you have a national team, you have to be fluid with your tactics because you can't just buy someone else. Like you can't do it. Now, I know that everyone and their mom is like being recruited to be on the U.S. national team now because
it's always like that little loophole.
Somewhere down the line, they touch foot on American soil at some point in their lives, so they're eligible somehow. But I think that I don't think he would be a good fit. I don't think Jesse would be a good fit either. Like I think, like I said, I think you need someone with some, and I think a point that a lot of people have started to make is like the players at the national team are getting like so big in terms of like their status in world football. Like, you have Gio Reyna's like top 10 in U23 players every year in like player of the year voting. You got Weston McKennie, who's probably going to be in the Prem by the end, maybe not by the end of January, but during the summer. Yunus Musa is going to be in the Prem in the summer. You got guys who are playing for top clubs, and at a certain point, you're going to need a manager that these guys respect. And I don't think Greg was that guy. I don't know if Jim can be that guy. Like, I think I think that's why Zidane would have is such a great guy, because I genuinely don't even think that like tactically he's that great, but he's one of the greatest players to ever play. So you're gonna respect him. Like, that's what. And at Madrid, his only job at Madrid when he won 3 straight Champions League was to manage egos, and he did it perfectly. Like, perfectly. Of course, he has his tactics and he does that stuff. But at the end of the day, like, everyone respects him because he's Zidane, and he's able to manage egos to a point where there's not any issues. And that's what you need at a national team where, like I said, players are starting to become huge names in world football.
All right. Now listen, we'll see what happens, but hey, it's definitely something we have to keep monitoring with Jim and with all of our players heading into the season. But real quick, guys. So obviously training camp began in Chester. Couple news and notes. No Blake, no McGlynn. They're doing their media tour over in Cali. No Ed Brujo.
Lucky them. It's cold outside.
Andre apparently had a car broken down. I see on Instagram story.
Dude, that's rough, man.
Yeah, no, he's on his way back to the airport, and they're like, "Oh yeah, car broken down."
Oh, MLS has some questions to answer then.
El Brujo's supposedly back on Thursday. I've been seeing his Instagram stories. He's been getting busy on Instagram. Zach's like, stay in Minnesota.
Get out of here, man.
So Jim apparently said that the mood around camp is these guys seem hungry. You know, it does
I would
seem like
hope so.
Changed since last year, but that's definitely really positive to hear that these guys haven't really changed the mentality much. So you had a couple of non-Rachi players being invited to training camp as well. You had Holden Trent, Academy defender Frankie Westfield. You need two players, Brooks Thompson, Gino Portello, who I know you guys were excited to see. The latest MLS draft picks, Stefan Stojanovic, and then Nelson Pierre as well. We're also there. Definitely dope seeing Andres Pereira in his number 6. Definitely.
He's got the Gazdag. He's got Gazdag's old number.
Gazdag's old number, my dude. So definitely some good things. And of course, they were practicing outdoors, which was an interesting call as well.
It's also been mostly warm the past like
it's been
warm,
good.
Warm for January. Let's be honest.
Do it, but yeah, man.
Yeah, just wait till February. Just wait till February.
Dude,
it's gonna get real cold.
well, when they go down to Florida, man, it's like it's gonna be freaking hot as heck. So it's gonna be definitely a little bit of a change up. But I mean, listen, guys, it is exciting to see the boys out there. I mean, it got my juices. I know it got your juices going. You know, but all we get to see is pictures and Jim talking about certain players. But I'm ready to get this ball rolling, and just hearing these guys staying hungry. It's got me excited as well, guys. No.
Yeah, it's definitely like, you know, I mean, when Jim said, yeah, these players are hungry, it's like they left off. Like, I mean, think about it. You were a minute tops, really, from winning the MLS Cup. You know, fuck Gareth Bale, and he could have retired a few months earlier.
Thank you.
That
on now.
That Welsh fucking bastard.
I love him, but I hate him so much.
Like
he did it to you guys twice in the span of a month.
Yeah,
though.
I know, but he's so good.
But there's never been a man in a city who has gone from not giving a shit about to being so hated in as quickly as Gareth Bale has done in this area. But like, I think because you kept pretty much most of the players from that team, the guys are going to look at it and go, we were really fucking close. We should be able to run this back again. And there's no reason we can't come away with a trophy this year. Like, you're going to have a lot of competitions this year. Depth's going to be tested. I think this team is going to look at it and go, there's not a reason that we can't at least win one trophy.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. All right, real quick, guys. So obviously we had announced here today I don't think this is all of them.
It's more to come, but this is an early slate.
And I'm going to share this for everyone to see on live here. So here is some of the announcers for next season. I'm going to pull this up a little bit bigger for you guys. All right, so we have Kendra D. St. Albin. I'm not familiar with her.
She was from Minnesota. She was Minnesota's commentary.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have Justin here. Thank you.
He knows everything.
We love him for that. Of course, our boy Mo Adu, Lori Lindsay, Daniel Slayton, Taylor Twellman, of course, no surprise. Marcelo Balboa, that's also not a surprise. A little bit of surprise, but smile on all our faces.
Gonna work the hell out of the closed captioning. For,
I was gonna say Apple better have those subtitles on.
Yeah, because someone's hard enough to understand in person, let alone on TV.
Yeah, man. It should be interesting, but hey, they'll put a smile on all our faces. Two new media members, former players. I haven't seen much of them.
Recently retired Sasha Collection.
That's right, and Bradley Wright Phillips as well.
Pulling out the hat his dad usually wears with that that look.
We have Diego Valeri. That should be fun as well.
That was a surprise. I did not see that one coming.
Absolutely, dude. Me neither. Me neither. You have Liam McHugh, Jillian Sakovitz, who we all know very well for Helmless content. She got the nod for Apple TV. Tony Churchy, is that how you say it? Tony Churchy?
I'm not sure.
We'll find out. Of course, friend of the pod, Max Pretos, got the nod. We're obviously happy about that. Steve Candelucci, well, good for him. Obviously, he's
MSG guy.
Yeah,
Red Bull.
man.
I was not surprised. Like he's
good.
One of the more solid voices for play-by-play in the MLS. I'm glad that you're going to hear more of him.
Absolutely, man. Jake Zivin, Pablo Ramirez, and of course Frederick Lord make it out so far. Now, again, more people should be announced, but this is the beginning of it. And obviously, for us, the connection is Moadu, Sebastian Latou. Obviously, gentlemen, the main question a lot of fans have, where's Danny? Where's JP?
They're under contract elsewhere.
Yeah, like Danny's under contract with NBC.
And ESPN.
And JP's under contract with Fox. Like, I think it's not going to be so simple in the first year. I think you're still going to get, I mean, like I said, this is not the full slate because you have kind of a centralized location. You have a lot of games that are going to be broadcast. You have a Golasso type show that, similar to what CBS has been doing with Champions League. So you're going to need those studio match analysts. It's like I said, this is an early list. It's a solid list. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
There were people. There's still people who when this was announced that knew there were people who were going to come back. The well-known voices around the league. And like every team still has to do content. Every team still has to do stuff. And then, again, there's going to be more hires. So I think you're going to see a lot more well-known names, at least for broadcasting around the league. So it wouldn't shock me if you started to hear more of the usual names as it gets closer to the season.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, we did hear rumors of a potential radio broadcast here, a consistent one for the Union. Whether we get our own broadcasters, bring back JP and Danny for that, we don't know. So that it does seem like there needs to be a lot more and it needs to be announced. But for right now, we have something to look for, and I think we are anticipating what this whole Apple TV broadcast will look like. And obviously it's important because we know how important broadcasting is for sports, and it needs to help us elevate our league as well. So we shall see.
Yeah, everyone needs to get Peter Drew's level, and then we can talk. But
gentlemen, before we close this pod, do we want to say goodbye to Gareth Bale properly?
I do thank him for all the incredible moments that I was able to witness. Besides the last 2 goals that he scored ever.
Those go fuck yourself.
Those last 2, we can forget about those. But all the other ones, dude. God, what a legend! What an absolute legend! 5 Champions Leagues, probably the greatest Champions League goal ever, or at least the greatest Champions League final goal ever. One of the greatest Copa del Rey goals ever. Just a menace. Just a menace.
But he didn't do it in Chester, Zach.
He never got the chance, to be fair, but you're right. He never did it in Chester. If he stayed till October 23rd, he would have had the chance. But
I mean, listen, I know we had a lot of Philadelphia fans that got on board with the Union in the MLS Cup, which was dope. But I don't really think they understood who exactly made that goal. I don't think they understand the Champions League, heroics he's had.
Oh, well, I mean, from what I read on Twitter today, people don't think Gareth Bale's that good, and I think he's like the 5th best player of the last like 12 years. So
I think a lot of that's a smear campaign from Real Madrid, because it was always the he didn't speak Spanish. Actually, he did learn.
He
Spanish.
did. He just didn't want to speak it.
Yeah,
I think he bought in to the whole like I'm a villain here and just ran with it.
And I'm the golfer, and
I think he just ran with all that, and then was still one of the best players on the team.
And that wasn't until the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years after Zidane had left, and everything was he had already won the Champions Leagues and the Copa del Rey's and the league, and it's cool, if you're not going to get rid of me and you're going to keep making me the villain to keep paying me to do this,
I'm going to buy in, dude. Of course I'm going to buy in. You're paying me $500,000 a week, and I don't even have to play.
Guys, think about it. It's Sidney Crosby, it's Larry Bird, it's Kawhi Leonard, it's Troy Aikman, it's Gareth Bale. The athletes who I know Zach loves Troy Aikman, but listen.
I mean, to be fair, I was not alive during. Well, actually, I was for the. I wasn't alive. I wasn't alive.
But
I was close, but no, I was not.
He is hated here in Philadelphia. That is for sure. And that will not change. That will not change. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of Dupe by the River. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We enjoy the offseason, but then again, we don't, because we want union soccer, right? So that's what we are all waiting for here. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. If you're watching live, make sure you subscribe as well for all your future Dupe by the River live viewings. You can find us wherever you stream podcasts as well. We're available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under the name Dupe by the River Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Zach Lobato. That is Justin, Target Allocation Podcaster Rydberg. And of course, I go by El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to Dupe.